gentle wind beckons through the leaves as autumn colors fall.
Over the Garden Wall, spoilers for the whole thing. You need to go see it. You need to go watch it, like, immediately. There was a time when Cartoon Network was very silly and very poetic. And I think they still are. They've always had a really good art of being both. For example, Adventure Time appealed much to adults, regular show. There are a lot of shows that were very odd, but pointed out crucial, universal truths in funny ways. Very Rick and Morty-esque, but more child-friendly, which is why it was on Cartoon Network. And then Rick and Morty, also Cartoon Network at night, Adult Swim. I've seen episodes of Adventure Time and regular show, but I haven't sat down to get the overall story. Watching Over the Garden Wall, which is a mini-series that was released on Cartoon Network many years ago. Just like a 2-hour experience. It's a bunch of 10-minute shorts, and it's got the most fall vibes ever. It means so much to what fall is spiritually. What I mean by that is the way that fall has always been a creepy season, and in our culture and in many culture, fall is where you celebrate things like Halloween. It's where you acknowledge the evil that we are encompassed by. For different reasons in different cultures, it was, you put on these masks, you don yourself as these characters, you give evil its representation for the day, and you have fun with it. You essentially bring love to evil to make it divine, and to give it that thing where, like, evil demands attention, and you give it to it in the way that it should be given to, and you have fun with it. Scary, spooky vibe everyone gets along with and everyone gets down with in October. And there are obviously people that do that scary, spooky vibe every day of the week. Go them. For Over the Garden Wall to capture that vibe of what is evil, of what is that idea of the beast, the monster, for a kid's show, and the fact that it does it in a Halloween way, it's very much about evil and about what fear is in a very poetic way, in a very funny way, and also in a very creepy way. Very Courage the Cowardly Dog in the way that it's odd and weird. Over the Garden Wall has nuanced humor, where it's what's funny about it is how cute, and almost like a Wes Anderson movie, how Wes Anderson is very cute and subtle and silly. Over the Garden Wall is so much about, poetically, is going over into the unknown. It opens with that monologue of what the unknown is. It also subtly references this thing that is the beast, and everyone's looking out for the beast, and what is the beast? And they're always trying to ask, is that the beast? Was that the beast? And there are a lot of people that are aware of the beast. These kids end up in this fairy tale land over the garden wall when they go over it in that last episode that we see. A lot of the poetry in just the title alone, you can see it's these kids going into the unknown, falling into the unknown, and how they take it. You have two separate entities. You have the little brother, bring up names before I go crazy, Gregory, his little brother, and Wirt, the older brother. You have Wirt, who is essentially the epitome of anxiety. Everything about him, he's also very smart and intelligent and very poetical. His intelligence gets in the way of him. He can't stop and not even enjoy, but do what he needs to do in the moment because he's thinking about it too much. Where Gregory, his younger brother, is the exact opposite. He almost seems flawless. Like he seems like he knows something that Wirt doesn't. And what I believe he does know is the idea to enjoy life for what it is. What he knows is ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, and they rely on each other for confidence. Wirt needs Gregory to feel that ignorance is bliss, because Wirt is trapped in this, what is going to happen? Let me think of all the worst possible things mindset. And Gregory relies on Wirt to stay out of danger, which we see throughout the course of their adventure. You see how they both rely on each other in those options. The episode where Gregory is in his dream trying to be the leader, and he comes across that sad cloud, and he just decides to go, nope, not going to think about that. I think that says a lot about what Gregory's character is, and the fact that his ignorance will eventually, even though beautiful, lead him down a path of destruction. So Wirt, in the same way, just can't stop thinking about destruction, and then eventually manifests it. So both of them relying on each other as brothers, in that balance is what keeps them through the woods over the garden wall. So in the unknown, together as brothers. Inside of the unknown, they're chased, they're pursued by this beast, and they're continually asked what this beast is. And each place that they go to is very much aware of that beast, very much thinking about, like, oh, I know the beast is this, the beast is this. Overall, the beast kind of represents fear for all of them. And I want to also point out how much Wirt and Gregory are regular modern day suburban kids. Every village they come across is very homegrown, small town vibe. It's almost as though they're in this traditional area, being inside of that unknown, inside of this traditional area where everyone's aware of what they call the devil, what fear is, what a lot of people in rural areas, in these small town areas, and these people of different faiths label the devil almost as though they have an understanding they call fear, and they've given it a name, they've given it a consciousness, so much as in the way that we do in modern lore. A lot of people say that Christianity is just the reality, giving it a lore, and I totally agree with that. I think it is just giving reality a lore, giving it characters, giving it a story, which is kind of funny because it does have its universal truths, though used for oppressive values every once in a while, and sometimes a lot. I think Over the Garden Wall preaches to that idea of going into these areas that you're not used to, into these almost fictionalized small town areas, and they'll know the beast, and they'll tell you about the beast, and you're like, what is this beast? And it is fear itself, and how they're taken over by fear, and how they have to rely on each other in these different situations. Even Beatrice, the bird, that's her name, right? Beatrice, yeah. She's got this curse upon her, and she's trying to bring them down with her, and she has to learn to trust them and to use what they have as opposed to selling what they have, selling their souls in the Christian sense or in the demonic sense. Beatrice sells her soul as opposed to using it, which Gregory touches on in the idea of the musical instruments. As opposed to selling the musical instruments, they use the instruments to make the money. They use creation, they use more things as opposed to subtraction. They choose life over death in a poetical sense, which is really cool. I love that they only hit those eyes, those beady eyes with the bright blue. They only hit that twice, one with the opening of the beast and another later when they actually show you the beast. I love that they flash the beast with light one time. That's extremely creepy and scary. That's just exactly what we're talking about with Marvel, how they want to get creepy and weird, but for kids, they show that beast real quick, and it's just these ghouls, and it's super weird, and they use light and picture as opposed to like blood and gore and like traditionally adult subjects. They use regular art to portray something very disturbing and creepy for kids. Exposing yourself as a kid to creepy things in a nuanced way is cool. I think engaging yourself in art that comes from a dark place as a kid with the right tone, I think is acceptable and should be encouraged. Things like Courage the Cowardly Dog, movies like Monster House, Coraline, things where it's like, yo, explore this, see if it's something you're about. Overall, Over the Garden Wall is incredible. The poetry of it, the way it talks about the unknown, the way it talks about fear and chaos, and calls it all one thing under this guide of the beast, and the way that the beast, what Christians would call the devil, Satan, once exposed to himself, is using a transactional area to keep control, and that idea of fear itself will be transactional. That's how you identify it. It's not something that's straightly given to you because you are love itself. It convinces you that you have to be transactional to earn it. That's how it stays alive in a very parasitical way. It becomes very angry in the same way that when you expose someone to their fallacy, they become very angry, and that's how yourself can tell, am I angry at this? What does that mean about me and what I know about myself and my relationship with myself, and how can we become more like Gregory and Wirt? They kind of represent the duality inside everyone. Everyone should be living dialectically. We are not two-dimensional characters. We're actually three-dimensional characters in a three-dimensional, four-dimensional realm. And some believe that it's even higher realms that we live in because of our spiritual natures. So who knows? But in these two-dimensional realms, you have Wirt and Gregory being the two sides of you mentally. Your ignorance and how that's okay, and your ignorance and how that drives you insane. And what do you do inside that unknown? How do you choose to live? And the music is vibey. It's super silly. Some of the funniest lines. We're here to burgle your turts. Classy. Potatoes and Molasses. Phenomenal song. I love the raccoon that's sitting with them. I was watching it with my friends, and they were saying that it kind of reminds them of like Frog and Toad, if you remember Frog and Toad. Very fall vibes, and they get spooky. I love the spooky. I love the fall. I love like the wind blowing and the leaves rustling, that kind of thing.